Welcome to the Hollywood Heroine podcast. All things pop culture, gossip, Kardashians, Real Housewives, reality TV. It's an addiction and we want to talk about it all. New episodes every Wednesday, and follow us on our Instagram account at the Hollywood Heroine with an E at the end. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the crazy pop culture world we are obsessed with. What is up, everybody? We are here, week 2. Ron J.
Hey.
Hey. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You chilling? You enjoyed your
Chilling.
episode?
I really did. Yep. I made sure to get it in.
She texted me. She's like, my notes are ready. I'm watching. I'm good to go. Yes, guys. Thank you for listening. If you are enjoying the podcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts because it does make a big difference. Anyways, let's get into the episode. We have a lot to cover off. We're going to recap Ron J in full. And then if we have a little bit of time, we're going to go through Miami and the OC because Miami is just like on fire and I'm loving it. And I want to give them the recognition that they deserve. So Ron J, we start off the episode continuing off from last week, where Jen just said that, or I guess Marge just said that Bill like had an affair, and then Jen was like, with the pharmaceutical rep, get it right, bitch. And whatever. So that scene like continues. And Teresa's like floating around in the background. She's like, does anyone need water? Do anyone need water? Like, no one needs water. Like, she doesn't know like how to like calm anyone down. And Marge just like keeps popping off. So my question first and foremost to you. So Marge says, she's like, Jen is the world's biggest hypocrite. And this is sort of where I lose Margaret a little bit in this moment. Cause I was like, but Jen is not really a hypocrite. Like she was judging you based on like what you did, that you had the affair. Her being cheated on is a very different scenario. Right? So what are your thoughts on that?
I didn't think about that perspective. It's not like Jen had done anything that could be criticized, really. She was just holding it in to keep her family. She wasn't the one who like made the mistake. And she was just speaking on the things that Marge had said about her own self, about, you know, choices that she's made in the past. Like I totally was really confused, but then, and maybe we'll get to it later, like some of the other things that are revealed in this episode made me think twice about having so much sympathy for Jen, although I do feel bad for her.
100%. I feel like we're gonna in the end agree on the same thing, because and again, like this is the amazing thing when you watch Real Housewives, like my opinion is swayed. Like I can start off feeling one way and then like by the end, like I feel a different way. And there is no right or wrong. I feel like choosing a side, I think it's like truly like what Dolores did say. Sometimes you take shots and in the end, like they're going to come collecting, like it's going to happen. Right. But yeah, like I just didn't get why she was calling her like a hypocrite. Cause I was like, she's not really being a hypocrite. And then she was also like knocking Jen. Cause she's like, you made it seem like your life is perfect and that you're so happy in your life. And I'm like, well, she is now. Like he did that like 10 years ago. Like he's made obviously up for it. And like, maybe he's a great guy now. So like, yes, she's happy in this current state of her marriage and her life. Why can't she like say that, you know?
I agree. And it's like, it's tough. Like obviously the cattiness like sucks no matter which way it's coming from. But like I said, like Jen was commenting on something that Margaret felt comfortable sharing about herself. So she kind of put it out there for, I don't know about discussion, but like she's the one who kind of put it out there.
Right. Yeah.
Where like Margaret said something that she knew would hurt Jen, and it's not something that she brought up herself. So
yeah,
sometimes when you look back at intention, it's like, yeah, Jen's annoying as she is like really loud and obnoxious and she calls things out. I don't know if she always has the intention of like hurting you by saying those things. Whereas like Margaret a little bit did.
Yeah. And I think even Bill says that later on, that he's like, but she said all those things in her book. So like, it's kind of like out to say it. He's like, we didn't really say this, but like, again, like you're on a reality show, like people are going to talk shit. Like you kind of have to expect it, but I get what they were trying to say. So it kind of like cuts from there. I think like Margaret goes back to like Jackie or something. And then Jackie confesses on camera that like, she's like, yeah, I knew about the affair because like Margaret told me, but she's like, I would never bring it up because from what happened last year with her and Evan, she's like, I know how hurtful it can be. Like, I just wouldn't bring it up.
I was surprised about all that because like, this is a pretty big deal. And it was like known, I guess, amongst them. And this is Jen's fourth season, I think. And like the
Yeah.
fact that it's only being brought up now when they seem to have known for quite a bit of time is interesting. Like, did they dig this? Like, did the producers say like,
I don't know,
it's time to like bring something up about Jen that like we haven't used yet? Like, the timing is interesting because she's not new.
100% I agree with you. And I almost feel like because honestly, I was trying to watch Bill's face like this whole time. And like, how is he reacting to all this? Right. Like, is this his first time finding out that this shit is being exposed? Because really, it's his sin that like he committed. So like, he's going to feel some type of way about it. So I was like watching him, like, how does he look? Like, does he look like surprised, shocked? I don't know. Part of me thinks that like they knew this shit was coming. You're right. Like, it is her fourth season. She has had no drama really about her own life thus far. It's kind of just been like all the shots that she fires like somewhere else. So this is a huge storyline for her this season. And I'm okay with it because ultimately it does seem like they recovered and they are doing much better. And to see that arc also is a great positive thing to see. Like, you don't always see that, right? So like she went directly to him
to get comfort from what was happening, and they were like dealing with it together. Like, obviously they have dealt with it.
Yeah, for sure. And so that leads into like the next conversation that Jen and Dolores have, which was a really cute conversation. And Dolores is like, are you okay? Like, is everything like fine? And Jen explains to Dolores that some shit just went down. And Jen's like, Marge wants to destroy a happy home. And Dolores is like, was there something with you and Bill that I didn't know about? And Jen's like, there was something a long time ago. And Dolores is like, okay, I'm just going to go off a hunch and think I know what you're saying because I'm a woman, da, 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 da. And then Dolores confesses
that she actually did know and she didn't say anything either.
Maybe, but then it doesn't come out. She doesn't say it after that she knew, right?
Yeah.
So like she did look surprised.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow, like, okay, like, so I guess you guys worked it out. It's in the past. Like, she seemed very like, of course she knows she's dealt with it with like her ex and stuff, right? So yeah, Dolores confesses that she feels for Jen and that it's not something that should have been broadcasted like this in public. So right away, like Dolores is like cheesed at Margaret. She's like, that's not how this should have went down.
Yeah.
And then whatever, Jen and Bill decide to go home. Then the party sort of pivots from like this whole affair scenario to Gia.
Fam drama.
Gia makes her entrance. And I am excited to hear what you're going to say about this because I know like Joe Gorga was annoying you. So, okay. So basically what ends up happening is, so once they leave, like Jen and Bill, Teresa and Gia go to sit next to Joe and Louis. And Joe brings up how like Jen called him a crook on social media, like it's so shady, whatever. And then the convo breaks off and Gia's like to Teresa, she's like, yeah, this is why people like shouldn't talk shit about each other. Don't say nasty things, da, 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 da. And she was like dad, he didn't deserve it either. And Joe kind of like overhears this because they're like 10 centimeters apart.
Yeah.
And he's like, Gia, like, do you want to say something? Like, do you have something to say? Like, say it. Because I'm your uncle and your godfather and I'm older than you. I'm like, oh no, here we go. Here we go. And she responds by saying, if you're going to be disrespectful to me, I won't talk to you. You're not going to talk down to me either. So in your opinion, like how her initial response like this,
yeah,
what did you think?
Like coming from an Armenian family where there is, you know, the hierarchy of respect and stuff like that. Yeah, you think you're 21 and you're big shit, but like, you know, I just think about if I were 21 and I had said something like that to my dad or an uncle, like they definitely would have gone really angry at the disrespectful tone. I understand why she's so upset and that she doesn't want to be talked down to, but just coming off by saying that to a man, I guess, in that type of a bit of a passionate culture, like I understand him kind of freaking out about it right away.
100%. And it's like, I don't know, maybe because we are from this culture too, like, are you kidding me? If I ever spoke to my dad like my uncle, like there's no way I would even start this conversation because like you're just gonna get smacked up in the face. Like you just don't do it. Like there's another look again, like I said last time, there's just a different tone, right? Like she could have said, Uncle Joe, I'm really upset with you. And I know you're hurt too, but we need to, the way she was like, and you're not going to talk down to me either. And I deserve respect. Like, and it's like, okay, like, I get it. Like you're cheese, but like there is a proper tone to like come at this. You already know he's like an emotional, like aggressive person, you know, and Teresa didn't say anything.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, I do understand that point, but then you have to think about the situation that she's been in. She doesn't have her dad around that much to be like, that figure to kind of put her in her place. And then obviously Joe has been like MIA from them for the 6 months or whatever she said. So all she really has is her mom, who's like a little wishy-washy when it comes to certain things. So she's almost having to be like the second parent to her other sisters. So she feels not like a 21-year-old woman. She feels like, I'm the parent in this household too, you know? And so you're going to treat me like an equal almost.
Yeah, that's a good point. So basically, Joel, so she responds by like, you better give me respect. And he starts like laughing. I'm like, oh my God, I know where this is going to go. Cause he's saying like, I would never let my daughter talk to me or like her uncle or whatever, like the way that you just did. And then he starts walking away. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, keep walking. Yeah. So, and then it basically like just spirals. And then Joe's like, I loved you since the minute you were born. He's like, I saw yous and I loved yous. And like, it's supposed to make her feel better, but like, she's getting like more upset. So he leaves. He starts like leaving. And he's like, Melissa, we're leaving. She's like, oh my God.
Oh no.
Like, what happened now? Like, she's trying to have a good time. So he like storms off, whatever. And then Melissa goes over to talk to Gia, and Gia's like explaining what happened. And Melissa's like, he can't even believe that you're giving him attitude and talking to him in this way.
Exactly.
And Gia starts laughing at that. And Melissa's like, Gia, it's not nice to laugh because he's really upset. And it was kind of like rude. She's like, don't laugh. Your uncle's like clearly upset. And then she's like, I'm not laughing. I'm getting aggravated now. And Melissa's like, bro, what are you getting aggravated about? Like, calm down. You're like 21, whatever. And then Melissa tries to explain, like, look, he loves you like he loves Antonia, and he understands that your dad comes first, but he doesn't understand. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And this was a really good way to put it. Like, I knew what exactly she meant. Like, he gets it, but at the same time, like, he just can't get it. And that's where like his frustration's coming from too.
Totally.
And then Gia, whatever. So okay, Gia's like, I'm gonna go talk to him, whatever. As if this is gonna like help the situation more. The whole freaking squad like rolls up with them. So Gia goes over to talk to Joe by the front of the house now. And Gia's like, okay, like I don't need everyone to like come here with me. Again, like,
entourage.
She's trying to be an adult. She's like trying to be like a legit person, and like everyone's still like surrounding her. Gia says, don't bring up my nono and nonna. Why would you say that about them? Because Joe was basically saying like, your dad put my parents in the grave, which is a very like, oh, it's a hard comment. Obviously, I don't think it's true necessarily. Like, I do feel like it caused her mom a lot of stress.
Well, I'm sure but it caused his
dad like, too.
It's a lot of stress too. And like, don't minimize the impact of stress on your physical health. And they were already like 100%. Older. They had like, you know, whatever. I'm sure they had certain issues. And so, yeah, maybe it did cause them to pass away earlier than they would have otherwise. Like,
I'm on Joe's side. Stress. Yeah, I'm on Joe's side 100% for this. So he just says that, and she's like, don't you dare bring up my no. And I was like, okay, that's his parents, like first and foremost. Exactly. And she's like, why would you say that about them? And Joe's like, because it's true. Like, sorry, but he's like, it is true. And that's when Gia loses it. She's like, you know what? Like, I'm not even gonna do this because you're bringing up my grandparents. And so then she leaves again. She exits the conversation. And Melissa says to Joe, like, we know that you're not lying. Like, we know what you're saying is true. But like, clearly this girl wants to believe that you're lying because this is about her father. Just let her believe it. And at that moment, I'm like, Melissa's so right. Like, just let it go. I guess it's hard for Gia and her sisters to truly understand, like, the scope of what their dad did to their family.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, I would have a very hard time, like, getting that too if that was my own dad. Like, you put my grandparents through this and my mom, my sister, like, it's hard. It's hard not to villainize your father in that sense. And then obviously Joe just like keeps going. He's like, he's done things to hurt this family, and I'm not going to hold those things in for the rest of my life. And
yeah,
I agree. Like, agree or disagree. What do you think?
I totally agree. I mean, like, he did a lot of bad things. Like, he went to jail. He put Teresa in jail. He caused a lot of stress onto the grandparents. Now he's deported. He's left 4 daughters kind of like not alone, obviously, but like without a permanent father figure all the time. That puts extra pressure on Joel. Like, it's a big impact that happened to their entire family. Like, you can't let that go. And he didn't even like him from the beginning. He said, like, I've been dealing with this for 20 years. And it went back to all the flashbacks from like day one. They had issues. And I'm sure for somebody who called it out from the beginning that this guy is not a good guy, and then to see what kind of destruction he brought to the family, like, he's pissed. He's not going to be like, oh, no big deal.
No, 100%. And like, even just like recounting, look, I think Joe's a different person right now, for sure. I think he truly learned his lesson in jail. But not only did he like do this like fraud stuff, like, he was a disgusting person. Like,
yeah,
remember what they got him saying on the microphone, how he was like,
yeah,
that bitch wife.
Yeah.
Like, he was gross. Like, he wasn't a good husband, human being and husband. Yeah. Maybe he was a great dad. Yeah. But like, that other part of your life, it showed everything on camera on this TV show. So like,
and God knows what we didn't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. So Gia, okay, and then Gia goes, and then whatever, and then Melissa's like, go back and like talk to him. No. So it's just constantly going back and forth. Which fine. Gia goes back, and then basically, and I love this part with Gia. She was very articulate. She was very to the point. Like, she's so well spoken in this moment, and she was like, look, it's been 5 years. Let's put this shit away. Let's move on. Even my dad feels like a piece of shit, and he hates himself every day for what he has done to this family. Like, we don't need to keep bashing him, basically.
Yeah.
And let's just let it go. That. And I agree with, and Joe was like, yeah, okay, I get it. And they hug, whatever. He's like, I love you. And then Teresa's like, I'm so happy. I'm like, girl, you did shit all. Like, actually,
she was just like hiding in the corner.
Just like holding on to Louis the whole time. Like, she did shit all. And then Gia says, I'm going to try and move on, but it's not just a deep wound with me. It's a deep wound with my sisters as well. So clearly that is a setup for like, is is every sister going to have a chance to like shit on Joe?
Yeah. One at a time.
I hope not. Like, I'm already over the storyline.
You should have done like a group session.
Yeah.
You should have been there.
But
yeah, it's very tough.
Shout out to Gia, who really like owned her position in this. And like, she was amazing. She's so cute. I just can't believe we used to watch her when she was like such a little girl. It makes me feel so old. But yeah, that was her moment basically. And then we cut to like I think there's a quick Jackie scene, but like, whatever. I'm not gonna like,
wait, before we like go on from this. Okay. When it was like more bright outside, like Louis was like so red.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you brought this up.
Okay. And then like he's been red. Like,
he's been red.
I saw him he's purple. Been red. Okay. No, I was just gonna say that. When it was like the darker scene when they're outside and it's like the sun has gone down and it's like Gia and Joe outside, he was purple. I was like, how did you get darker as the sun went down? Like, what the heck? What is it?
Oh my God. I don't know. And like, it's like, so funny
he's
because
not tan.
Is he though? Like, maybe he is. Maybe that's his version of being tan. I feel like he definitely goes and gets a spray tan.
Well, he needs to change the shade.
The tone. The tint. So it's so funny because somebody posted a meme or like a picture and it was a picture of Louis on the episode and it was like their color menu for their TV. And they're like, I just thought my color settings were fucked up because he looks purple. He looks magenta.
He looks purple. That was so
my God.
funny.
I mean, I've definitely
guy needs to calm down.
And like, maybe it's like his emotions, like the emotions just like come in his face color. Like, I don't know. Like,
some people are like that.
He's always just looked like that. Like, it's not the first time that his face just had a very different like shade to it.
Sorry, one other thing I want to say about Louis. I really hate that he's chewing gum with his mouth open all the time. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I didn't notice that, actually.
He's always chewing gum with his mouth open, and it drives me insane. Take note of that next time.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. And it's probably a nervous thing for him, right? Because like he's probably nervous to be on camera and like talking, and like I could see that being a thing. Okay, so we leave that scene and we cut to the pool party of all pool parties, basically. And Jen's throwing this big party for Olivia. And she's like, it's for Olivia's birthday. And I'm like, I swear this chick's birthday was just like in Jan. Like I remembered Jen posting about it in January. I'm like, her birthday is in January though. And she literally says, she's like, I know her birthday's in January, but this poor girl wants a pool party every year. she never gets it. So we just throw her a pool party. I'm like, oh, such a cute like thing. Anyway, so whatever, the kids are all over, whatever. Olivia's like drinking her Coke like a little princess. And then basically Jen explains, okay, Bill is like upset right now with whatever happened last night. She's like, he's not going to be filming. Basically, he's not going to be filming today, which wasn't really weird because like it was a pool party and like there were no guys around anyway. So if Bill wasn't there, it wouldn't have like felt like he was missing from the episode.
If she didn't say anything, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. And then Dolores and Teresa come over and Teresa like says happy birthday to Olivia, but it's not even her birthday. So now I'm like, wait, what?
But she said it first, and she's like, it's not really her birthday. Yeah. And she's like, oh.
She like brought her a gift and everything. She's like, it's not even her birthday. Anyway, so they come over, the girls come over and they're just like chatting, whatever. And then Dolores and Teresa were both like, you like held your own last night. Like you did amazing. Like you took the shots and like you just stood there. And then they both admit to that, like what Margaret did wasn't right. Like she shouldn't have done that. And then Teresa says, yes, she did. But my thing is, why was it said at my party? Didn't she make it the biggest fucking deal that it was at Evan's party? So sorry, I'm just writing, it's my note, but I guess Teresa's saying like, why did Margaret say that when I said it about Evan last season, everyone like made it such a big deal about it.
Right.
And then it cuts to like Teresa's confessional and the producer asks Teresa, do you now see how what you did to Jackie and Evan was wrong?
And she was like,
a minute goes by, loading. And Teresa's like, I said a rumor. It wasn't true. She's like, don't you know? Like, is that supposed to make it better?
I don't know.
Like, she's so off.
I do somewhat get her point that like it's not something that's like factual. It's not going to cause a whole I don't know what she's thinking, right? It's
like
the same thing.
You don't know that it's not factual, right? Like that's the whole idea of a rumor. Like you don't know if it's true or not. So you could have been very dead on and right. Like it's just whatever. It's just Teresa. Like it's just, you know, the producers and editors like make fun of it and the way they edit her and whatever. She doesn't get it.
That means that the whole time she didn't believe it was real and she was just talking shit.
Exactly. And that makes it even more annoying. It's like you spent the whole season saying this. Girl, you knew it was fake. Like whatever.
That's why she doesn't understand why it's the same, because she knew it wasn't real. It was just a rumor.
A rumor. Yes, I know what a rumor is, Teresa. Do you know what a metaphor is? Like,
wow, good point. Exactly.
My question to you was, do you agree with Teresa that hers was different because it was a rumor? But I feel like we just,
yeah. I guess Jen's is worse, obviously, but like it's not good what Teresa did.
No,
it could have been real.
I honestly feel like, I'm gonna say this, I honestly feel like what Teresa did was worse because it was a rumor. It is not even based in anything factual. So you are literally damaging a family and a man and his kids for like, you don't even have an inkling of it could be true.
Yeah.
At least this Marge situation, it was true. People clearly were talking about it in their town. So it wasn't something that was like deeply hidden, like, oh, like, you know,
yeah, that's a good point.
Obviously it doesn't make it better, but that's the sort of the way I'm trying to rationalize it. Like, if you really wanted to go into it, Bill Iden, you fucked up. You need to deal with the repercussions of how your family learns about this information. You know, you have children. They're going to hear about it one day or later. Like they're going to, you know, so yeah.
It's definitely a shame, and it's sad for them, but doesn't mean that Teresa's was any better. Like Teresa's wasn't good.
Yeah. I think it's just another instance where like Teresa always gets a pass, like always gets a pass. Like these are the moments where I'm like, nobody calls her out on anything. Like they're just like, oh, it's her. Her brain was loading. Poor girl. Like
huh? But she's playing dumb.
Oh yeah, she plays
just
dumb.
Like we said last time, she's playing dumb.
Okay, so then Teresa asks Jen details about the affair. She's like, okay, but I want to know like more deets. How did it happen? Whatever. And Jen says it was during the fourth pregnancy with Christian. And he was and Bill was working a lot. He was feeling himself. He was making a lot of money as like a new plastic surgeon, I guess. And then Dolores asked, how did you find out? And Jen says the credit card statements, it showed like what, like a nightclub with like bottle like service. VIP.
Yeah.
And like all these things. And Jen right away like confronted Bill and she said whatever. And he admitted that he was having an affair. And she said, okay, do you want a divorce? And he's like, no. And she's like, is this still going on? He's like, no, like it's been over for a while. Like it's done. He's like, I don't want to, whatever. And that's kind of, I guess, how, and she even said, she goes, we did not talk about it after that. Like that was it. Like,
well, because she says like right after that she had the baby, so it was like her whole focus shifted, and she wanted to continue to keep their family, and she just, I guess, dropped it at that point, and they just didn't talk about it again.
I'm such a big believer in once he cheats, he will always cheat. And like, you can't forgive someone, but for whatever reason it is with Jen, I'm like, I get her. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's so, I don't know like because she's like us, like she's our culture. Yeah. I don't know what it is about her that I'm like looking and I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why you stayed. Same. And maybe a good thing that she stayed. Like maybe he did change and he was like, I messed up. Like he got too spoiled too quickly and he got ahead of himself. And maybe he's really, really changed for the better. And she would have missed out on this whole life if she had just been like, F you, I'm leaving.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I feel the same. Like usually when we ever see or hear something about infidelity, it's like, forget it, cut your ties, whatever. But like in her explanation too, I was like, yeah, I believe it, and maybe they are okay. And I do understand why she stayed. 4 kids, like, I don't know.
4 kids, a lot. And then they had 5, and then like she had no money. Like it's his career, and and in our culture, like we know, like you don't get divorced. Like that's just you pretty much stay miserable for your whole life, and that's it.
But they seem like our generation. Yeah, but if they were miserable, then I would have said, yeah, you should have cut and left. But
totally,
it seems like I know it's from TV and you don't see all of it, but like they seem like they actually do love each other and they are a good couple. So sometimes people do make mistakes. This guy went from seems like nothing to very successful, not suddenly, but like over a certain amount of time. And sometimes that does get to people's head, especially if they move to the States and he just like got through into a different lifestyle. Like people can stray, but that may not be their overall character and personality.
Yeah, for sure. And then even Jen like posted a picture and with the babies and she's like, I forgave and I stayed. And I was like, that's so cute. Like there also is strength in forgiveness. I think people like sometimes forget that. So I was really touched by her storyline. I was like, wow, for the first time I understand that. Like, I get it. Like, I get why you forgave him and stayed. And then Teresa asked Dolores again, she's like what Marge did was pretty bad. And Dolores is like, yeah, like it's fucked up what Marge did, exposing that in that way. Then we cut to Jackie's house, whatever. It's not that exciting. Her kids are going to go to summer camp, whatever.
Yeah. I didn't even take notes in this section. I was like,
yeah, that was it. And then Marge and Dolores go furniture shopping and they're at this really cute store, whatever. And this is where Dolores is really like her thing pivots. Like everything changes after this scene. And basically what happens is the editors like splice Jackie and Jennifer's conversation between Dolores and Marge's. So we start off with Marge and Dolores. Marge explains why she even brought up Bill's affair at the party, like how she did and when she did, and that it was completely warranted because of all the shots Jen had been taking at her, Jackie last season, and like whatever, the others. And I just wrote down here, this is what I love about Dolores. She's so straight and like to the point and like very blunt. and there's no bullshit with her. So she does say like, I spoke to Jen and like, you fucked up. Like what you did was wrong. Yeah. She doesn't hide it. She doesn't like diddy daddle in the middle. She's like, no, what you did was wrong. But then Marge is like, but like all of these things. Like this is why I said it. She was like, Marge was like, apparently Jen had been trying to get info about Evan from Frank and a bunch of other people, like calling people up and like asking, like, do you know information about Evan? Like, did he actually cheat? And then Dolores is like, yo, that's fucked. Yeah. Like, yeah. I'm not okay with that. Like, yeah, that's really fucked up. So obviously you agree, like you're on the same page. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I was like, okay, now she's taking it too far if that was true.
Yeah. So Dolores is like, well, let's all get over it and have fun because like I'm gonna have a party at my townhouse. And Marge is like, okay, but like I don't know if I can get over it. Like this freaking bitch is like shady as hell. And then it cuts to Jackie visits Jennifer and like very unusual duo, which I'm kind of like low-key liking a little bit.
Me too.
Because like they have the same amount of kids and like, but they're very different. But like, I don't know, there's just something like cute, like watching them.
Jackie won some points with me this episode.
Yeah. And she needed them because she was definitely she was late in the game and she needed some points. But so Jackie visits Jennifer. And Jackie says, hey, look, I knew about the affair, but I never said anything. Like Margaret told me from time, but like I never said anything because it's not my business. And I don't want to hurt another woman. Like that's just not my MO. And Jen's like, I'm sure you can relate. Like it's very hard. And Jackie's like, oh, no, well, I can't relate because like my husband didn't cheat on me. But she's like, I still can relate. Like as a woman, I fucking died. She's like, no, bitch. No. He didn't. Evan didn't cheat on me. Like your husband actually cheated on you. And then Jackie says, I want to be friends. But I just want to know if there's no more sneakiness to you, right? And at the same time, they're like cutting it to the scene with Dolores and Marge, where like Marge is telling Dolores that Jen called people about Evan. And Jen's like, yeah, no, like there's nothing anymore. Like I've told you everything, whatever, like we're good. I was like, oh God, this is clearly going to come out later. Yeah. So Jen starts crying when she talks about like the affair. She's like, it's the kids. She's like, I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my sister, my parents. I kept it all to myself to like protect my kids and Bill. And then Jackie tries to hug her, but it wasn't really like a full hug. It was like a little tap. It was like, tap. I'm here for you, girl. I was like, no, you could come closer. Girl.
Well, it's nice that she's even doing that much.
No, for sure. I was just like being picky. I'm like, okay, like you can hug her, like, but no, I think to your point, it was a cute scene. Jackie definitely won me over. How she was like, I don't want to bring women down. Like I'm not about that. Whatever. So that was cute. Then we cut to the biggest scene of the episode, I guess, which is Dolores's townhouse party. So everyone arrives. Okay, there's two new women.
First of all, I was like, who's the blonde girl? I totally forgot about her from the last episode. I'm like, who's this? And then that other brunette. They're both like, she's very pretty, the brunette.
Yeah, did they like intro her? Yeah, no. But did they even say who she is or like what does she do?
Nope, they didn't intro her at all. They cut to the fact that she had been at Teresa's house the day before or whatever. And I think she knows Melissa too. I think it's from Melissa, but I forget, or Teresa. No, they didn't explain her at all. They were just like, I think her name was Paulina or something. Maybe I didn't say
I don't even remember.
Or
there's Tracy. Tracy's Tracy, the other one.
Yep.
Guys, I don't know what it
Caroline. Is. Maybe it was Caroline.
I don't know what it is, if like the editors just didn't give her a proper intro because they didn't have time because so much else happened in the episode, but like they were non-existent. Tracy said a couple of things, but like the other chick, I was like, who are you? Like why would, anyways, whatever. We can get to the later episode because
it was odd.
It was very odd. Anyway, so they're there too, obviously, but like they don't say anything. Dolores, so somehow Dolores, like the conversation comes up like, oh, you have this house, but like you're dating David and like you have the other house, like what's happening? And Dolores says, I haven't seen much of David actually. Like we don't really, like we haven't seen each other in a minute. And obviously now we know that they've broken up. But again, like she's not really saying we're broken up or we're talking about breaking up. She's just saying
like,
we haven't seen each other.
Like boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay, what does that mean? But she's like, we don't see each other. Okay.
Anyways, so Melissa was like, huh? Like, just like admit that like you're not in a happy relationship. Anyways, whatever.
My whole thing was, why is Dolores even throwing a warming party in this townhouse, which I thought was a temporary situation while the house is getting finished? But it sounded more like she doesn't. Now she's like, I don't even want to go back to the house. But that's her own house with her kids. It has nothing to do with David.
Yeah, no, it's her own house. Maybe she'll sell it. Maybe she did say like she wants her kids to like live in there until like they're ready to move out. Like maybe this is just a rental and she wants to have a party. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, that's cool. She's like, look, housewarming. I'm like, okay, then you have a housewarming again in a month in the other house.
Then again, like now that I think about it, she hasn't had a party at her own like house for like a long time.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so then the conversation shifts over to Teresa because Teresa's not there yet. Teresa and Louis and the video, which we didn't really get a conclusion to at all from the previous episode because then everything like led up to the Jen and Bill affair and then like Joe Gorga thing. So Melissa is like, they're all talking about it. Marge basically like explains what this whole retreat thing is. She's like, it looks like, she's like, I looked into it. She's like, they like beat the shit out of you and like wear you down and like tell you that you're a piece of shit so that you go home and like you don't beat up your wife, basically.
That's like, is that true? Like,
I don't know.
She get that information from? Is it on the like mission and vision of like this?
I honestly getaway? I feel like we're so past this video at this point. Like this Louis guy has a lot more things that he probably could be answering for. Yeah. Lots of people are calling him a shady McShade. So like,
oh really?
Yeah. So anyway, so a lot of whatever. So this is like, I feel like whatever. I don't even care about it anymore. But he did look pretty beaten up and he is apologizing for something, right? So like clearly there's some sort of ownership and like something recognition that's happening at this retreat that he's saying, I'm so sorry. Like I messed up. Like whatever. So I could believe it, honestly.
And like to it, like he's so sorry about something that he went to a retreat.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
I think he beat the shit out of her.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
You think it was a physical something?
I think so. I feel like it was. Like that's like a very extreme thing.
If that's
you know?
True,
like
if that's true, that's really a huge red flag.
Like sure, maybe it was like cheating too, or like he cheated once or something. But I feel like he maybe is very controlling and like I don't know. I could be making shit up. I don't know, but
yeah.
But I could see it happening because like those guys were like so macho and like big and like I'm like oh like it just like I don't know. It was weird. Anyways, so then Melissa's like, I don't think the video bothers Teresa at all, actually. She's like, I think what would bother her more is that everyone else is talking about the video and him on the side, which is like typical Teresa. Like, it's not the actual thing that she's annoyed at. It's like that it's out.
She just doesn't want to be talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. So then Jen shows up and she's like, hi.
She was scared. She
was like scared. Her voice was like shaky. I'm like, what's like, this isn't you. Like, even I was like, this isn't you, girl. Like, what's wrong with you? She's like, come inside. She's like, I'm just gonna stay over here. I was like, okay, she's not gonna beat the shit out of you. Like, you can go near them. They're like, do you want water? Whatever. She's like, no, I'm okay right now. Like, I just need to sit. And then Jackie goes over and hugs her again, like cute Jackie moment.
Yeah, Jackie was being so nice.
Yeah, she's like, I know what it feels like when you walk into a room and like everyone's talking shit about you, basically. And she's like, whatever. And then Jackie goes over and like hugs her. She's like, come, let's like go sit over there. Like, don't cry, whatever. And then everyone on the other side of the kitchen's like, what's wrong with her? Why does she look like she's gonna cry? And then Tracy has a line, and she says, I think she probably just feels insecure walking in. And Melissa's like, huh? She's like, yeah, maybe. Dolores says, Jennifer, listen to me. She comes in storming, like, you know, Dolores. Yeah, Jennifer, listen to me. This isn't you, okay? She's like, there's no reason to cry. I'm like, oh, even I got like taken aback. I'm like, damn, like, give me a minute. She's like,
I thought about like if Dolores was my mom, I would be like, I can't delete this.
Well, like, it's like someone telling you that this isn't you. It's a very like, I don't know what the word is. Like, it's like, maybe this is me, bitch. Like, I'm crying.
Like, give me a second.
you know? And then she's like, you go around acting like everything's perfect and everything's like fine in your life, but she's like, it's not, whatever, like stop putting on a show. And then Marge comes in. What are you crying about? I was like, okay, you could come at it like in a different tone, like in front of everyone. She's like, what are you crying about? So how did you feel about all this?
I don't know. I felt bad for Jen because I just don't want to see anybody like be sad. And obviously she did feel overwhelmed. But from the other women's perspective, like Jen has gone so hard on everybody the whole time. She's been very aggressive. She's never shown kind of a weakness. And then now when it's her thing, she like cowers. Plus Dolores just found out that all this other things were going on that she was like not investigating, but kind of like asking people around about Evan. And like, so their sympathy for her just like was zero. It was like, okay, so you're making yourself the victim, but you had no problem like being aggressive towards Jackie, to Margaret, whatever. And so they don't have sympathy for her.
Yeah. And again, this is when I shift one more time, because you're right. At this point, like I do feel bad for Jen. And then I'm like, yo, she's playing this card like she's like,
she's trying to get sympathy.
I'm just sad. I'm like, bitch, wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like you've been taking shots at everyone. And so Marge again says, Jen, you were doing this about Evan. You were like calling people up, this, that, whatever. And Jen's like, I was just curious. Like
it was just curiosity.
Like, it's just curiosity. Like, and then Jackie comes in because now Jackie's pissed.
She's like, what? What I hear?
Yeah. She's like, Jennifer, you looked into my husband when your husband, this is the realest moment. Jackie's like, you looked into my husband when your husband did the actual thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, that is so true. Like, how can you, with a clear conscience, like do this to someone else when you know that that skeleton is in your closet?
I think that she deep down, or not even that deep down, must have been insecure about, you know, her supposed perfect marriage having this like skeleton. And maybe she saw Jackie and Evan having a really nice relationship. And, you know, she heard a rumor too. She wanted to find something about them too, to be like, see, everybody has issues. It's not just like us. But it's very wrong. Like if she had something in her life like that, I'm just thinking about myself. If that was the case for me and like I knew that about my life and I was kind of keeping that inside, I would never instigate anything about anybody else's relationship, because I would be like, no, I'm not going to open any can of worms.
It just hits too real. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like it's too real for you. And
I would feel bad for that person and have some sympathy for them if I thought it was real. And I would just be like, damn, I'm going to stay out of that.
Yeah. I do feel like if she did what she did, because after the episode, she does come out and she says, like, I never did that. Like I was talking to Frank already about something else, the Jersey Shore house. And she's like, I just asked him like out of thing. Like, she's like, it's not like I called him up for that reason.
Yeah.
And I also do feel like Jen, because she hasn't really had her own storyline, she does tag on to Teresa a lot. So I do think what happened was Teresa started this narrative with Evan, and Jen was like, oh, let me get some more tea, because like I'm gonna be Teresa's like wingman. And I think that's where it comes from, more of like being Teresa's sidekick, less of like, I want to bring down Evan and Jackie. But in doing so, like you're still being shady. Like, you know, like you're still being shady. So whatever, Jen starts yelling. She's like, no, she's like, it's just human nature. She's like, I was just curious about it. That's why I did it, whatever. And then Jen's like, she brings up her kids. She's like, what about my children? She's like, this is so messed up, whatever. And Jackie's like, your kids are going to be fine. They'll go to therapy and they'll be fine. I was like, oh, that's savage. And then Tracy's like in the corner. She's like, oh, she's like worried. She's like, she confesses. She's like, wow, I'm so baffled. She's like, Melissa and Margaret just can't see why Jenna's falling apart.
I don't know why she put Melissa into it. Melissa wasn't even saying anything.
No, Melissa was kind of, like, she was. There. She's like, your kids are amazing, but like, whatever, like they'll get over it too. I just felt like Tracy was like the narrator of the episode, like looking in, like she wasn't in the room, but she's like peering through the window.
No, nobody knew that she was there. She was like, she was just like at home watching.
Yeah. She's like literally like one of us. And then Jen starts crying, of course, and she's like, I am brave for crying. Don't make me feel like it's like, okay, like come on. It was too much. It was too much acting. At this point, Jen lost me.
Yeah.
Jen lost me. I was like, you got to go home, girl. Like, it's time for you to leave.
She's trying to get the sympathy vote.
Yeah. Dolores is still trying to get everyone to eat, and it just ain't happening. Like, they keep trying to get everyone over to the food, and it's like, no. It keeps like going back.
Eat more. Okay, what about those like huge bread loaves that were?
Bruh, who eats that much bread?
Who's making that? First of all, these women, they're not even like, they're not going to go hard like that. Everyone's like trying to be skinny and fit and whatever. She's like, eat more, eat more. No, they're not going to.
And then Teresa shows up.
Oh my God. The fact that
whole
Teresa
time she wasn't there.
Like,
yeah.
She's like, she walks in. What's going on?
She's like, everyone's happy. And then Dolores has to like pull her on the side and be like, yo, this is what's happening. Like, everyone's coming for Jen, like all these things. And she's like, Jen did this. She called Frank. And because now Dolores has to explain, like, I'm no longer on Jen's side. And Teresa's like, hey, but like what Marge did was still messed up, right? And Dolores is like, no, I'm not on her team anymore. And Teresa's like,
I switched.
Yeah. Teresa like doesn't get it. She's like, no, it's still wrong. And then Teresa asked Marge, why was I such a bad person for bringing up the Evan thing? And they all respond, like all of them, even Jackie's like, because like Marge went straight to Jen. You went around everybody else and like spread a rumor.
Exactly.
She's like, that's why they're very different situations. And Teresa's still like loading. Like she doesn't get it. And I'm like, guys,
even Dolores was like, if you don't get it, like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, like she's not, and then Marge is like, no, she's not gonna get it. Like, this is it. Like, you're not gonna convince her, or she's just in this denial of like she's gonna believe what she wants to believe. It's Teresa's show, right?
It was a rumor.
It was a rumor. And Teresa goes, all I wanted to be was a girl's girl. I'm like, girl, rule number 1 about being a girl's girl, you don't spread fucking rumors about your girl's man. Like, no. That's rule number 1.
Teresa.
Oh God. So then, yeah, she tries to like make Jen feel better, but like doesn't do a very good job at it. Ultimately, and I think someone says this, like I don't know who said it, but they were like, they don't think Teresa really cares so much like that Jen's hurt. It's more of like that
making
her situation
be not so bad. I think it was Margaret.
Yeah, maybe it was Margaret. Yeah,
that she was like, it's just beneficial to her that like her situation doesn't seem so bad.
Totally. Like, yeah. And I agree with that. Anyway, so Jen's like, oh, I'm going to leave now. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Like it's a good decision. And then whatever, she dibs, and then they talk shit about her, that she has a beautiful life and that she shows it off and that like everything's like perfect, but it's not really perfect. And then Tracy, one last line for our girl, Tracy. She says, I'm sure she's a little embarrassed by that persona starting to crumble a little. She's literally like the Lauren Conrad like narration like after the episode.
That's so true. It's like, yes.
Like it's true. Like she made a good point, but like, and it's like everyone in the kitchen like can't see that. But then Tracy's like, guys, she's embarrassed. And they're like, she
just doesn't have that experience of like Jen coming at her. So she's just trying to see this from a neutral position. Meanwhile, everybody else is like, just doesn't have sympathy for her.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, right now we're at the end of the episode. Like it is a hard place to be for Jen. Like, I don't know how she comes back from this. Cause like, her playing the victim was like pretty like messed up in this last scene. And like, again, like she does, if you go on her Instagram, like she does say, she's like, guys, she's like, Frank, why would I like make this up? Like, why would I just call Frank and ask him about Evan? She's like, obviously I had a hint that he knew that I would even ask him about this.
Yeah.
Frank is denying it on his Instagram. He's like, I never said this. I never knew anyone that would say this. So I don't know.
I feel bad for Jen only because now I feel like she's a little bit isolated because first of all, she only originally had like Dolores and Teresa on her side, but she even said like last episode that they don't stand up for her the way that kind of the other three are closer friends. And then Dolores turned on her too, and like Teresa's just not very credible. So like
not at all.
Like Jackie was the one who was like supporting her the most. Even after she heard, you know, from the other room that she was like investigating her husband, she literally like got upset for 2 seconds and she put that aside and she was nice to her again.
Yeah. I don't know where Jen goes from there, but maybe Tracy will have some words of wisdom for her. And the other chick, I don't even know that girl's name.
I literally don't know. Now I forget.
Oh my God. But yeah, that's the episode. Next week looks really good too. It looks like there's more drama with Joe Gorga. And I think it's Melania now. Like Melania's now saying like, you did the, I'm like, okay, guys, like we don't need to keep going with this. Like
they're going to go down the girls.
Yeah. Like, let's just be over it. And then it looks like someone has a party. What else happened? Oh, Dolores has a huge fight with someone.
It looks like it's Jackie.
Oh, is it Jackie?
It looks like it is.
Oh, maybe you're right.
It looks like it's Jackie.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see Dolores like in action because she spits a big game. Yeah, like she spits a big game, but like, can she actually like knock someone out?
Yeah. I'm excited for next episode. Looks good.
Let's see what happens. Okay, that's Ronjay, you guys. If you're liking it, let us know. Comment. Let us know what you want to like hear more of in next week's episode. Let's quickly discuss Miami, which is one of our favorite like seasons right now.
Yeah.
Really enjoying it. This episode was in the Hamptons because of Larsa's event, and somebody gets really, really sick.
Yeah,
like really, really sick. And it's Julia, and it's so funny because I was watching that episode of her drinking, and I'm like, this bitch is like, she's gonna get sick. Like it's like she's not young
think that at all.
I was like, they were drinking in the day, they were drinking in the night, she was drinking wine at dinner. Like, you know, daytime drunk, it's very misleading and it can make you do very bad things later on. And this chick woke up like half dead. Like she was throwing up. They didn't stop saying that she was diarrheaing. The whole episode, everyone's like, she's diarrheaing everywhere. I'm like, can we stop?
Poor girl.
Can we stop like saying that she's like shitting herself? Yeah, and then so whatever. So they like Larsa's like, oh my God, my whole thing's gonna be ruined. Like someone's sick. Adriana had to like
when they said because when they said that she was sick, like they didn't know like what it was. Like, and like COVID's too fresh for everybody.
And
like,
then Nicole straps on her mask. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, doctor coming through. I was like, okay, like she's hungover, bro. Like it's not that hard to tell. I knew that she was hungover. She was probably massively dehydrated. She was.
I thought that when she was like telling everybody the pickle thing and how to like drink vodka with the pickle, I was like, oh, she has some like Eastern European like secrets. She's gonna, I don't know. I thought like,
well, she kept saying that.
Like after that episode, I was like, I'm down to try the vodka with the pickle, and I'm like, no.
No, because like you're right. She kept saying, she's like, the Russian spies, they drink olive oil. I was like, okay, like does that actually work though? I don't know. I was skeptical, and she had a lot to drink, and I was like, this chick is gonna go down tomorrow. Like I don't know. I just had a bad feeling, and she did. Yeah, so that was a big part of the storyline. Larsa's party goes like pretty well. Like it looked like a cute little like jewelry party.
Yeah, but it looked like she invited like 5 people.
I know, but she did say like quality over quantity.
Okay, totally. I agreed with her, but maybe not everybody stayed for the lunch or the dinner or whatever.
Maybe
like, it was just that one table of like not that many people.
It was like 10 people, maybe. Yeah, the house was like so cute though. The house was like a bomb house.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah. The girls
I kept forgetting it was the Hamptons. I thought they were in Miami.
Me too. I'm like, it was like
they're
home.
Yeah, I thought like White House. It was beautiful outside. And they kept saying the Hamptons. I'm like, what?
I know. It's so funny.
Hamptons.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Anyways, Nicole, our girl Nicole, is a doctor. So she did her doctor duty this episode. And then Marisol was like making fun of her. Marisol is just, I love Marisol, but like she takes so many shots at Nicole. And it's almost like coming off as like a little jealous now. I feel like Marisol's a little jealous of this new blood.
Maybe she knows something else because she keeps saying, you're gonna see. She kept saying that. So
I'm sure she knows shit.
Nicole a lot. Yeah.
I'm sure she knows shit. Like Marisol's connected, and like Nicole and her husband do come off as like a couple that they are a power couple. They're like a rising power couple. And I could see them sort of having this air to them of like, they don't say it, right? But like they do kind of kind of float through and maybe do think that they're a little bit higher than everyone else. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Whatever, like whatever the case may be. But yeah, that happened. And what else happened in the episode? Something else happened that I was going to mention. Oh, they start talking about, I want to talk about this. They start talking about hookups, right? Like fantasy hookups.
Yes.
And like who they want to like sleep with. And what's her face? Lisa's like, Lenny. And they're like, your husband? She's like, yeah, he's cute. And they're like, and they cut to like all the girls. They're like, do you think Lenny's cute? They're like, like they can't answer it. They're like, this is not the point of the game. The point of the game is like fantasy, like not your husband. And then I think she says Channing Tatum, right?
Yeah, I forget.
And they're like, huh? They're like, okay. Like Julia's like, I don't even know who Channing Tatum is.
Lisa doesn't open up at all.
You know what?
I feel like nothing comes out of her.
Now that you say that, like I kind of see it. Like even a simple game like this, she couldn't really play.
No.
But
she
why?
doesn't open up. She's like in the sidelines. I don't know.
It was weird. It was a very weird moment because it's And then everyone else was like having fun with it. And then of course they get to like Larsa, and Larsa's like, well, I don't really have fantasies because I fuck all my fantasies in real life.
She's like, I got them.
And they're like, tell us more. She's like, no, she's like, I had fantasies about basketball players, I fucked them. I had fantasies about actors, I fucked them, like everyone. And they're like, oh, sick, like who though? And she's like, okay, I can't tell you names. She's like, I'll give you like the initials, like MJ. And then everyone's like on their phones, like trying to Google like who it could be. And the first one I thought it was Michael B. Jordan.
You did?
I did. I was like, oh, Michael B. Jordan, because it's like MJ, but there could be so many. I guess there could be so many different. What? You're shaking your head. Are you like, it's true?
No, I have no. It's funny because when she said MJ, I thought Michael Jordan, to be honest. But then I was like, that doesn't make any sense because I think he's in a different time and he's not really a actor. And then actually when they said Michael B. Jordan, I was like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, that one works.
Like a different Michael Jordan.
Her husband actually used to play with Michael Jordan. Like they were on the same team together. But anyways, I don't know if it would be. And she did say actor, and technically he's not an actor.
Exactly.
So like,
And then I was like, okay, hold on, he's not that. He's
and
not
then
really
they asked, they were like, does he have a girlfriend right now? And here I was like, oh, okay, like she could give this away, but she doesn't say anything. She's like, oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
She's like, I don't keep track of like that stuff. Anyways, and then so that was like the end of the episode. That was a cute moment with the girls. Nicole says John Mayer, and I freaking lost it. I was like, really? She's like, he sings Body is a Wonderland. Can you imagine? I'm like, no, that song is from 1998. Like, get over yourself.
She likes that like soft, like
indie, like hipster guy.
Yeah.
Emo. Anyways, it was a fun episode. The girls are super cute together.
I like them, yeah.
The promos looked absolutely insane for Miami, because at one point Adriana, I think, talks about like fucking Kanye or something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm excited for next episode. What? She's like, I think he just came out of nowhere. She's like, oh, I've seen him. I don't know if she said that, but she said, I've seen him naked. Dick. He has a big dick, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Larsa comes back getting upset that like, don't talk about my friends.
And I'm like, they're not your friends anymore, Larsa.
Exactly. And she's like, I'm not mentioning because it's your friend. Like they're in the public. It's just like as if, it's literally the way we're talking about them. It's like, she's talking about Kanye like he's not a real person. It's just like a celebrity, whatever. So that's going to be very interesting.
That's crazy. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that actually was the case, if they hooked up. Because you never know with Kanye, and you don't know with her. I feel like she does get a lot of different people.
What's her story? Was she married before?
I don't know. Actually, out of all the housewives that I watched, like I watched the original Miami, like I don't remember her. So
I remember at the beat, like I've only watched a couple 2 or 3 episodes of the first season, and she was single at that time, and now she's single again, but I don't know if anything happened in between. But she's a beautiful girl. Like she definitely can be a bitch for sure, but she's beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah. And I feel like she's well connected in Miami, and like okay, let's move over to Orange County real quick before we end off. This episode was the one where they go to Cabo. They're still in Cabo. Heather's looking for her like dream house. They do the shopping. And then Noella, Emily, and Gina go into this, what's it called?
It's
the heat sweat lodge. And right away I'm like, this is not a good idea. Like, it's so hot outside already. Yeah. I could see their skin like glistening, and like I'm like, this is just not a good idea. Like it was making me claustrophobic just like watching them. And sure enough, they start going in. Emily starts crying right away. Like she's like, I can't stop crying. Like the emotions are coming out of me. Noella's like freaking out. She's getting emotional. And then I think she starts to pass out. So Emily's like calling the producer. She's like, I know you can hear me. I know you can hear me. Like, you need to come right now and like take her out, because like she's out. And that was a really scary moment. Like she passed out. Yeah. I don't know what happens in that thing, but that thing looks insanely intense.
Well, I'm sure it's intense. Like, she's such a thin girl to begin with. If she didn't eat or whatever,
they probably don't eat and they drink and stuff.
Exactly. 100%. That's like easy. You're gonna faint.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw the promos of that episode. Like, it was obvious something was gonna happen to Noella, but I was surprised that it was actually Emily who started, and that things got like intense for her first.
Yeah, Emily was really, really crying. She's like, all of the things that I held in or have felt sad about in my life, like just came up to the surface.
Yeah, it's very.
And then Gina was like, I was crying because you're crying, and I was like, oh, because like they're such good friends. Like she like felt her friends like emotion. Like it was cute. It did not make me want to go to a sweat lodge in Mexico. No, I was like, I'd be like in Iceland and do it where it's like freezing outside. Like, no way. Anyway, so that was that scene. And then we get a little bit more of like the drama between Noella and Heather, with Noella gifting like her daughter that like weird pornographic like book or whatever it was.
Why wouldn't she have looked into what it was before she gifted it to
like
her?
It's a gift. Like, when are you gonna read? You're gonna read the gift.
You just see the cover and you just like gave it. I don't know. It was pretty intense the way that Heather was reading what was on the inside. Like, I would not give that to any 17-year-old. I'm sorry.
She should have just bought a different gift where she would know like what the context of the thing is.
Yeah.
Or like, to Heather's point, like, it's really not like, it wasn't maybe a big deal. It wasn't intentional. You know, like she didn't do it on purpose, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously when she heard what was in there, she was like mortified.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, whose storyline makes me really, really sad is, I don't know what her name is actually, the doctor.
What's doctor?
Her name? The blonde chick.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Jen. Her name is Jen, right?
Jen. Her storyline makes me really sad.
Her storyline makes me so sad. The fact that she has this chronic pain, let alone that. But like, when she called her husband, I was like really sad for her. I just felt her pain. I saw her face. She was trying to hide it. And like, she said, I love you. And like, he didn't even fucking say it back.
He was like, okay, bye. She was like, I'm really in so much pain. I didn't do my exercise early enough. Like, I'm stressing out. I don't want to have.
I'm working out right now.
And he's like, okay, it'll be fine tomorrow.
Really
She's
sad
like,
for her.
I'm really struggling right now. I feel so sad for her.
She's like, I just want someone to make me feel like loved and safe, and like, that someone cares. And like, that's the point. That is the root feeling of like any like relationship. Like, if you don't feel that love and that like support and that comforting feeling, like, what are you doing everything for? Like, who is this person that you're sharing your bed with every night? Like, anyways, they go deeper into it next week for the promo. She starts to have a conversation with him and he walks away. He's like, I'm not doing this right now.
Yeah.
He seems like a weird ass person. Like, I don't know.
First of all, he's like not once worn a shirt. I feel like the entire time, except they were in a restaurant one time, he was wearing a shirt. Other than that, he's like always shirtless.
He's weird.
And like, I guess he's the mom in like the traditional sense of like roles. Yeah. Like, he's been the stay-at-home person with the kids all the time, because she says how like she started the clinic, and like she's at the point where I guess she's blowing up in a sense that she's small enough still that she's doing the back office activities still, like the accounting and the blah blah blah. So she's in that phase of like she's about to grow, but she hasn't grown with people yet. So like, there's too much on her. So I guess she's just like not home enough, and maybe he resents that, you know, he's the stay-at-home person.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's definitely resentment in his whole face, in his whole tone. You can hear it, like you can feel it. Like, there's 100% resentment. But anyways, we'll see what happens with that. It just made me really sad, and it was kind of hard to watch. So there is that. What else did I want to talk to you about? Really quick, I was listening to Tamra on Melissa Gorga's podcast. And Tamra was like really upset that they kicked her off. Like she was like, I was not expecting it for Orange County. Really? She's like, I was not expecting it. She's like, I was in a very dark depression. Like after that, she's like, there was people that were on the show that like, I didn't understand why they're on it. And like, not me.
Why did they kick her out? Does she like,
no, she's like, I called Andy and he was like, look, they just want to go in a different direction. Like whatever. He's like, the door's not closed forever. Like we could get you back later. Yeah. But she said, like, she's like, I was upset. Like, obviously, she's like, I'm a veteran. Like, I deserve whatever. Do I miss her? Yeah, I do kind of miss her on the show. I really do.
I always liked her. I miss her. There's like, why is Shannon on?
Yeah.
Like Shannon.
Like, are you telling me producers really said, let's keep Shannon and leave Tamra?
I don't get any of that. Like Shannon's fine, but like I would never have chosen her over Tamra.
Tamra did say, she's like, if it was a money thing, she's like, they could have come to me and I would have taken less money. Wow. Like she's like, that's how much I wanted to be. I like to be on the show. Wow. I don't know. Interesting conversations. I do think OC's gonna have a big shakeup next season. So I'm interested to see what they do with it and what you guys want to see. Because from the looks of it, like you guys are a big Tamra fan. And we are going to see her on the Ultimate Girls Trip, the second one.
Have they said?
Yeah.
Who's going? Oh my God.
It's Tamra, it's Vicky, it's Jill Zarin.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's a couple more. I can't remember the top of my head.
I have to look that up. That's so exciting.
Yeah, they're getting it together. I don't know when it airs. It's probably going to air like maybe sometime in the summer. But yeah, they have that one coming up too, which will be good.
So it's like OGs.
It's the OGs. Yeah. And I think that's it for us, eh?
Yeah, we covered a lot. There was a lot going on.
I mean, obviously you can tell Ranjay is where it's happening. There's obviously still Salt Lake City, and I'm kind of in the middle of like, I don't know if I want to do a podcast on Salt Lake City because it is coming to an end. But let us know in the comments if you guys want like a quick recap or something like that for Salt Lake. Yeah, I think that's it.
Sounds good. It's so fun. I can't wait to do it again.
Until next week, y'all.
Bye.
And that is it, guys, for the podcast this week, covering off Ranjay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys loved my best friend / co-host. So let us know. Follow us on Instagram at the Hollywood Heroine with the E at the end. Comment, DM us. Let us know what you thought about the podcast. And if you can, guys, if you're listening, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. Drop us a review on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing, if you like us, and if you guys want more of this. So thank you so much. Bye.